Hi there folks. In this video we're going to have a look at how to empty the powder and shot out of a Lee Loadall or Lee Loadall 2. Now the Lee is a good machine for the money, but it does have the disadvantage of being not really set up from the factory for it to be easily drained of the shot and the powder when you're finished loading. It's not really a big issue to leave the shot in the machine, but it's not a good idea to leave the powder in it when you're not using it, just for security reasons and also for the fact that powder can degrade in the presence of light, especially sunlight. So if your reloading room has a window, if you leave your powder in the hopper for any length of time, it can actually deteriorate and change the burning rate of the powder. So it's generally a reasonably good idea to empty out your machine if you're not going to use it for any length of time. And you also may have decided to change your loads. You're going to load a buckshot load, and you had your machine set up to load skeet loads. So you're going to have to change out the powder bushings and so forth and so on. And when you change the powder bushings in these machines, you basically have to have the hoppers empty. Same thing with the shot bushing. If you got to change the shot bushing, you pretty much have to have the hoppers empty. So, you know, with a machine such as the Mech, it's easy to take these bottles off, flip the head of the machine back, take the bottles off, and empty them out. But the Lee is a little bit less user-friendly in that regard. However, there are some ways you can do this without too much of a hassle. And one of them is just to modify the machine itself a little bit. And the machine comes with a little box on the top, which it stores all the bushings in. And basically the only modification that we need to do is to drill a hole in the corner of the cover. So basically just drill a hole in any one of the corners that you want to. And, you know, so the size of that hole is not real critical, but I would suggest making it of a reasonable size so that you can use it as a drain hole. And basically we're going to use that to hold on top of the machine, and we're going to take the top of the machine off and flip it over and drain first one side and then the other. So taking the whole top of the machine off is actually a fairly straightforward and easy thing to do. We'll show you that right now. It's a fairly simple matter to take the entire top off this machine. Basically, the handles are held onto the sides basically just by friction and tension. This is an aluminum U-shaped handle, and it's actually sort of constricted in a little bit to hold it onto the machine. And it's held on to these two metal studs, which are molded on or pressed into the plastic. And then they are connected at the front to these rods which go down to the bottom of the machine to hold it all together, and the whole top portion rides on the column up and down. So to pop the whole top off it, you basically just have to keep some control over the hopper and everything so it doesn't go flying. So you might want to push that down a little bit and basically just grab a hold of this and pull it off to the side. You can get it out of the way so it's not actually connected up to the hole there, and then do the same thing on the other side. And with those out of the way, we can carefully slide those down so that they are out of the way. You can see the handle is now free of the top of the machine. And then we basically just remove the machine, the head off the top of the machine. So you can see the entire top of the machine comes right off, and there's the spring underneath. And basically we can leave all of that stuff alone while we go to empty out these bottles or these hoppers. And of course you want to have a good firm grip on all this, because if you tilt this over you will spill the contents and it will be a desperate mess. So I'll show you how to empty these out. So to empty these out, basically just keep your thumbs over the top of the hopper or your hand on the top of the hopper to keep the contents from falling out while you invert it, and hold it down tightly. It'll seal off the side that you don't want to empty while you empty whichever one it is you want to empty out first. Okay, we've got the shot emptied out. Once we've got the shot drained out of the way, it's a simple matter of just removing the cover completely, since we don't even need that drain hole anymore. Since there's nothing else on the other side, we can just simply pour our powder out. So it makes a little more sense to empty out the shot hopper first, because that's where most of the weight is, and it's what's going to cause you most of the handling issues. There we go, all emptied out. Now that we've got our hoppers emptied out, it's a simple matter of putting the head of the machine back on top of the column here, and we've got this plastic guide rod here, and it fits down inside the spring, and then just slide the whole thing down over the column. Shove it down to the point where you can get the handles pulled back. And there we go. We've got the head back in the machine. And now it's an easy matter to change the bushings or put the machine away for storage, depending on what you're up to. Of course, you don't need to disassemble the machine to use the hole in the lid trick to empty the hoppers out. You can basically keep the machine completely assembled and just take the screws out that hold it to the base and invert the entire machine over your containers to empty the hoppers out. I'm not really as fond of that idea as I am of taking it apart partially, because it leaves you with the kind of the handles in the way, and the spring makes everything move around, and it's just a little less sure to handle. There's more parts flopping around when you do it that way, but you can do it that way if you don't want to pop the handle mechanism out from the top. I've got this particular machine bolted to a little piece of plywood that's held in the Lee bench plate system, so I could loosen the screws up on the bench plate and take the whole machine out and empty it out that way. So that would be another possibility. Anyway, I guess that's all there is to this video, folks. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you later.